Muted. Sorry. Hello, my name is Zara Hoffman. I'm the founder of Inimitable Books, a small publishing company, now an imprint of Ulysses Press, dedicated to publishing marginalized voices without pigeonholing them into writing about their trauma. And we are here for another cover reveal and interview run by Inimitable Books author Samantha Tronfeld. This is for The Devil's Waltz by Jessi Elliott, and I'm going to let them take it away. So thanks, everyone.
Hi, hopefully you can hear us. Let us know in the comments. I am Samantha Tronfeld, author of The Legionnaire, and I am here today with Jessi Elliott to celebrate her lovely cover reveal. Jessi Elliott is a paranormal romance author who lives in Ontario, Canada, with her adorable calico cat Phoebe. When she's not working on her next book, she likes to hang out with friends and family, get lost in a steamy romance novel, watch Friends, and drink coffee. Do you have anything you want to add?
That's about it. That sums me up to a T perfectly.
Okay. So if we can add the cover to the screen for a minute.
Drum roll. Drum roll. They said we can't hear you. Great. There she is.
There is the beautiful cover done by Keelan Rivers for Jessi's trad debut, The Devil's Waltz. Could you tell the audience a little bit about what the design process was like for this cover?
Absolutely. So it started off with basically what I envisioned for it. And I knew from the beginning, well, let me back up a bit. At first, we were going to do a character art cover. So I was trying to picture like how that would work, if it was just going to be like the female main character or if it was going to be her and her love interest. And I think we kind of decided that it was going to be both of them. But I was doing some, I guess, market research and just kind of decided that I didn't necessarily want a character art cover. And so I went looking through a bunch of covers and came across some by like Scarlett St. Clair and Katie Roberts and a few other like fantasy-esque paranormal romance authors that I found kind of had like similar vibes. And so we ended up sending the designer like a bunch of comps that we really liked and also elements that I wanted to be incorporated into it. That's why you see a dagger down the middle of it. That is kind of an important part of the story. And I knew I wanted some like kind of intricate stuff woven around it and to keep it fairly simple, like not super busy with a bunch of different objects. So we have like that main object and the title is really the focus of the book. Of the cover. And then I also wanted like one kind of flower because I did want a little bit of like a floral aspect to it. And we went through a few different drafts before we got to this and we kind of played around with the dagger a bit and we swapped that out a few times as well. And I'm super thrilled with the end result that we got. I think it is absolutely stunning.
It is a very pretty cover, and once you get to see what's on the inside, you will see why the cover elements make a lot of sense for this.
Yes, yes.
What was the, like, aside from that focal point and the knife, was there anything else that you had originally wanted that you then decided to get rid of for this cover?
I don't think so. Before I said like, oh, you know, we should have this weapon, I didn't think of like a specific object. It was kind of just like floral. That was kind of like a dark floral, red, gold. That was kind of, I guess, the vibes of it. And then I can't remember. I think we were talking about some things that we could do for marketing down the line. And that's when we kind of came up with, oh, there's this weapon that they use in the story. Maybe it should go on the cover. So then I had to like search through my like Pinterest inspiration board and find like what it kind of looked like to me. And then like looked through a bunch of stock photos and found one that I said like, that kind of fits the vibe. Can we see what that looks like? And it turned out to work really well. I wasn't sure initially if like having a weapon on the cover would be great, but I really, really do like it, and I think it works for the story, even though the main character isn't one of the hunters. It is a huge part of the story and her life, so it does make sense to have it on the cover.
I think it does a great job of blending the romantic feel of the novel while also recognizing that there is a lot of fighting and danger for our main character and her friends.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know what The Devil's Waltz is, I'm going to read the synopsis really quick. Discover what happens when a young woman from a family of demon hunters falls in love with the half-demon prince of hell in this spicy paranormal romance. It's been 5 years since her sister was killed by a demon, and Camille Morgan swore off the family business of demon hunting. Now a college sophomore, Cammie is determined to get her degree and move far away from Seattle and all things paranormal. But when Cammie becomes the target of a demon attack she's convinced is a ploy by her parents to drive her back into training, the wildly charming and attractive Xander Kane comes to her rescue. Except her savior isn't a hunter, or even human. Xander is a demon, the alluring prince of hell, whose magnetic presence leaves Cammie both captivated and conflicted, especially when she finds out he plans on using her to destroy the human hunters once and for all. Caught between her growing affection for Xander and her loyalty to her family, Cammie struggles to make a decision that could shatter her and endanger the lives of those she loves.
Yep.
If that doesn't sound amazing, I don't know what does. And if you like that book, it's up. If you like that description, it's up for pre-order now. So we're gonna turn away from The Devil's Waltz for a minute and talk about craft and publishing.
Okay.
So The Devil's Waltz is your trad debut.
It is, yes.
What do you think has been the biggest difference in switching to trad from your indie titles?
I think the biggest thing is working with a team of people, which I do typically as an indie author. Like I hire someone to do cover design, to do editing, to do some promotional stuff. But like when it comes down to it, every decision is mine. Whereas I guess like working with a traditional publisher, you hope that they'll take into consideration what you want. And I think that our publisher really does, and that's super unique and like a huge asset, I find. But I think that's probably like the biggest thing, like in the back of my mind as I'm working on things, I'm like, oh, do I need to like run this by someone? Can I do this? Like I can't just share necessarily as much as I would like to right out of the gate, especially because like for me, when I'm typically writing a book, I'm writing it, editing it, releasing it, whereas with The Devil's Waltz, because it's being traditionally published, the timeline is a lot like longer and extended. So I'm finishing it, but it's not releasing for months and months and months. So in the time where I'd usually be like sharing teasers and like sneak peeks of what's in the book, I don't really think I can yet. And that's like the hardest part for me, because like I almost want to share certain scenes as I'm writing them, or like little snippets of it, because I'm like, oh, I'm so excited about this thing I just wrote. But at the same time, like I have to submit it to somebody for final approval, so it's like I can't really do that. So I guess like, and I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I have less control. But there's so many other benefits to doing it that you kind of just like, for me, I weighed the pros and cons, and this was the right decision for me.
As far as your like snippets go, are you worried that those scenes might change?
A little bit, yeah. I think if it's something that I'm like super passionate about, I will fight for it. But if it's something that I'm kind of just like, yeah, okay, then I'll be like, that's fine. We can do whatever needs to be done.
So let's talk about specific challenges with The Devil's Waltz.
Okay.
What do you think has been the hardest thing as you've been drafting this story?
Rewriting it for the third or fourth time knowing that like this is it. This is my last shot to get it right because I have these concrete deadlines. I have a release date. I have people waiting on me to hand it in. It's not something that I can just like finish, set aside, and come back to again. So there's a little bit more pressure of like, all right, like this is the last chance. So
Do you think you wouldn't feel that pressure if you were indie publishing this book? Do you think you would have reached publication with the Douglas Waltz if you weren't going the trash route?
no, because it wouldn't be the first like top priority of what I would be working on. So no, it would not be coming out as soon as it is if I was indie publishing it. Which is interesting because usually it's the other way around. If you're trad publishing, it's not going to come out as fast as if you're indie publishing. But for me, just the way things were slotted in my publishing schedule, I don't know when it would have come out. So
let's talk character creation. I have been very lucky to get to read some of the beginning of the Douglas Waltz, and I love the characters. How did these characters come to you?
So
Obviously, that was a while ago now. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm rediscovering them because when I first wrote the book, it was YA, so they were in high school. Now as I'm rewriting it again, the main character is a sophomore in college, so it's more like new adult. So I'm really kind of tapping into, I'm not necessarily like where I am in life because I feel like I'm beyond where Camille is at. But for me, when I'm kind of creating characters, that's usually what I start with. Like some people start with plot, some people start with characters. I'm definitely like, I create my characters first and then build their stories around them. So it is hard for me to say like where Camille and Xander came from. I guess like if you think about it, it's very, very loosely like paying homage to Romeo and Juliet, like they're different families, and they're kind of like at war with each other.
Star-crossed lovers.
Yeah. So I've always been a fan of enemies to lovers. This one is a little bit more lovers to enemies to lovers, question mark? Maybe not. So yeah, it's kind of a little bit blurry how it started to begin with. But I'm happy with where we've kind of gotten them to now.
And at least Romeo didn't like set out trying to kill Juliet.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite part about each of them? So Xander and Camille.
Okay. So my favorite part of Camille is also Xander's favorite part of Camille. And that is like her fiery nature, but also the fact that she's so compassionate. It's like this great mix, and I think I do see some of myself in Camille. I don't necessarily think that I would make the decisions she does, but I mean, I can't say for sure because I haven't lived what she's lived through, but I really have enjoyed being in the head of someone who's like, I guess a little bit more soft-spoken at some points, but becomes more fiery as the story goes on, and she's kind of like at her wit's end with all the shit that's going on. Yeah, so I think she kind of reaches a point where she's tired of like her agency being taken away from her, like all this stuff is happening and people are trying to manipulate her from all sides. And she's kind of like at a base level, like, guys, just let me live my life. Like, my sister's dead. My parents are divorced. Like, just let me live. Like, let me go to school. Let me have a normal job.
Stop trying to manipulate me so I do what you want.
Yeah. So I just like really, I really appreciate her. And then I guess for Xander, I don't know, because he's tough. He's a tough cookie. I think it's interesting because this is the first time that I've rewritten this book with his point of view. So I'm kind of discovering him on a deeper level. And he's not necessarily as bad as you might initially think, because he has surprisingly similar circumstances as Camille does. And that's all I can really say about that without getting too spoilery. But we did just get a very exciting delivery. And I know that we showed the cover on the screen, but we also have this beautiful poster of it. And I don't know how I'm going to get this home on an airplane, but here we go. So I don't know if we can.
I was looking to see if there was like
I don't know if that's going to work, but
chaos.
well, good enough. You can sort of see it.
What made you put Xander's point of view in this draft when you hadn't done it before?
I think I was just worried that because in the blurb, going in, unless readers are the type who just don't read blurbs, which I know some don't, but if you read the blurb, you're like, why on earth would Camille fall for this guy? Like, he's clearly the villain.
Not good for her.
He's not good for her. And, like, what is it? So I thought that kind of giving him his side of the story would make it make sense.
Oh, cool. So you did start answering this before, but I wanted to ask if you had intentionally or unintentionally put any pieces of yourself into Camille, Xander, or I'm going to add Harper for this question.
Okay, so Harper is one of my side characters. She's Camille's best friend. I think I am more like Harper than like Camille. Harper is a hunter and is just like so sassy and like strong-willed and just like will do anything for her friends. Like, she is ride or die. And I feel like that really resonates with me. I feel like I'm definitely more Harper and I put more of myself into her character. I do have like plot stuff percolating back there for like a potential side story for Harper, because she does have her own romance with a questionable love interest. So I hope that I do get to tell her story at some point, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
Possible spin out coming, guys, if you like.
Kay is wondering what you guys are drinking.
Oh, we're drinking the Smirnoff.
No, it's Mike's Hard.
Mike's Hard Freeze.
Pink Freeze.
Freeze.
So let's go into your world building a little bit.
Okay.
So the Devil's Waltz is built in real world Seattle with paranormal elements on top. What made you choose Seattle?
This is going to be really lame. Because from what I can remember, because I picked Seattle when I wrote this book for the first time in 2014. Fun fact, we are in Seattle right now for a writing retreat. So that's kind of special. And I'm going to be finishing writing The Devil's Waltz, or drafting it this weekend, or this week while we're here. I was watching Grey's Anatomy, which if you guys have seen Grey's Anatomy, you know it takes place in Seattle. So that's all I can really remember as to why I picked it, is I was starting Grey's Anatomy from the beginning. I hadn't watched it when it was like on TV, so I was just starting it. And I was like, oh, it's so pretty. Like, you know, they're always taking the ferry across and you see like the Seattle skyline with the Space Needle. And like, I saw pictures of like the Pike Place Market and the pier with the wheel. And I was like, yeah, I'll set a book there. Cool. So that's the story behind Seattle.
The Devil's Waltz? Was that book?
Yes.
Okay. So I have a very specific question. And we've seen it in some of your other books before. You have a very interesting way of fueling your paranormal creatures.
Yes.
What made you decide on the like way that demons eat?
Yes. So in the Devil's Waltz, demons feed on fear, whether that be like feeding on fear that a person, or human I should say, is already feeling, or they also have the ability to create hallucinations or like a person's worst fear and make them think that they're seeing it. They can also like go into a person's dreams while they're sleeping and create nightmares and feed on that fear. And I'm not entirely sure. I think that really developed through the drafts, because if I remember correctly, when I first wrote it, there was not a lot that differentiated demons from humans besides like super strength and speed and the fact that they kind of like came from hell and they are now topside on earth. So I kind of needed to give them more of like a paranormal, like what set them aside from humans, besides their abilities. So they can eat human food. It doesn't really do anything, but yeah, I kind of like just needed something to fuel them. And the fact that like, to me, demons are like on the base level, like evil and just terrible creatures. It just kind of felt natural that they would feed off of something that is like detrimental to humans and like harmful. And I just really felt that it worked.
It is. I've never seen it before, and I think that's always a fun thing when you can add a detail to a book that makes it unique.
Yeah.
So I think it's a very fun thing. It's just like, I read it and I was like, well, what made me think about that?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the dynamic between hunters and demons. So in your world, obviously they're against each other. They're like diametrically opposed, but they're both at this point in time where they are dead set on completely eradicating the other one. What made you decide to like make that the main conflict for this story?
So I kind of went back and forth about it because it is very much like end of the world-esque. And I don't want to get too much into it because that is a huge part of book 2. But essentially, like, I really just wanted to put everything on the line because Camille is faced with kind of an impossible choice that isn't really like, she's basically choosing between bad and worse, at the kind of like precipice of all the bad shit going down. And so it's kind of like, I needed the stakes to be so high that it wasn't really a choice that she was being able to make, and the reader could clearly see, like, how is she going to make this decision?
She could make the other choice, but it wouldn't really work.
Right. It's either way, it's really not putting her in a great position. And I also kind of want readers to think, like, what would I do in that position? Because honestly, like, if you ask me, I don't know. I don't know. Like, I am so sorry, Camille, because, girl, I have no idea what I would do in that situation. But, yeah, cry. I don't know. It's an impossible decision, and I'm glad I don't have to make it.
That is fair. Let's talk really quickly. How is your drafting process going?
It's great.
You hit 50K.
I did. I hit 50K today. I'm hoping to get the draft to 60K before I hand it in 5 days. So it's a good thing we're on a writing retreat. But you know, it's been a lot of fun, and I was a little bit surprised at how little I've pulled from the previous draft. There has been very few scenes, and I haven't yet been able to pull over any full scenes. It's kind of like bits of dialogue that when I wrote back years ago, either in 2014 or in 2020, 2021, when I rewrote it for the last time, that I was like, I really like that, and I hope that like it sticks. So I've pulled it over. But for the most part, the process has been me re-outlining it as basically a whole new book, really only keeping a few main plot points and the characters. The characters really haven't changed from the 2014 draft versus the 2023
Is that from
draft.
like age?
Yes, except from their age. So it's kind of been like writing a new book, but with a bit of a, like, I have the roadmap of the outline, but also the feelings that I felt when I first created this world and these characters.
It's like nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
So, The Devil's Waltz has a lot of both fighting and kissing, if that's what you're into. So, we are going to play a quick game of Kiss, Marry, Kill. We'll start with an easy one.
Okay.
Joey, Ross, and Chandler. Because obviously I had to pick Friends characters.
Kill Ross.
Which I
Ross is
surprised.
the worst.
Yeah, nobody was surprised with that answer.
Kiss Joey, marry Chandler.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then let's step back a few years to your Faye.
Don't do this to me. Don't do this to me.
Tristan, Nikolai, and Jackson. So for people in the audience, that is Jessi's indie debut series, which you can now read the new version of Taken by the Fae. And those are the three main love interests from that series that she now has to choose between.
You're evil.
That's not even the worst one on here.
I can't kill any of them. Okay. Oh no. Okay. Kiss. Tristan. Marry Nikolai. Kill Jackson. Oh. I don't feel good about this.
I mean, sure, I don't think that the rest of them are gonna make you feel much.
Okay, cool.
We'll go for another easy one. We'll do from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Jake, Charles, and Terry.
Okay. Kiss Terry, marry Jake. I'm sorry, kill Charles Boyle.
Those are the same.
He's so annoying.
He's so annoying. And he's so overbearing in relationships.
Yeah.
It's doing too much.
Yeah, and I think Terry talking in the third person would just drive me up the wall, so I don't think I'd spend
too much
the rest of my life with him.
this.
It's intimidating. Yeah, for sure.
We have all the yogurt for him right now, though.
Yeah, we do. We have all the yogurt.
Okay, so since we're in Seattle, we asked you to do a Twilight one.
Okay.
From the Cullen family, Edward, Emmett, and Jasper.
You're not even gonna give me Daddy Carlisle?
I did not.
Because I would marry him in a heartbeat. Okay.
That made it too easy, so obviously.
Okay.
You can just reverse hair on it.
True, and I would. Kill Edward, kiss Jasper, marry Emmett.
Okay, that's not what I expected you to say.
Okay.
So, Destiny gave me this one. So, don't be mad at me.
Okay.
From the Zodiac Academy, Orion. From the Vampire Academy, Adrian. And from Vampire Diaries, Damon. You take a minute.
I'm killing Damon. It's between Lance and Adrian. Kiss Adrian, marry Lance. Orion. I don't know what it is. The teacher, the older the age
Older
gap.
guys. Older guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that says about me, but yeah, pretty much. So that was really rude. And
hopefully this one is not as bad.
okay.
So Starbucks, Target, and Spotify.
No. You're done. I'm gonna walk out of this interview right now. Oh no. Marry Spotify. I can't write a book without music. Kill Starbucks. Kiss Target because there's always a Starbucks in Target. Loophole, bitches!
Sarah says this is Jessi's villain origin story.
It truly is.
She's like, we're gonna get off this cat. She's gonna be like, hate you guys.
I'm not talking to
I'm
you
done.
for the rest of the week. I'm getting on the next flight home.
Okay, so back to Devil's Waltz. What was your favorite scene to write?
Oh my goodness.
Without spoilers, obviously.
There's a scene at a lake house. And it's like a kind of vulnerable moment between Camille and Xander where she's kind of asking him to make a choice. And it's pretty angsty, but it's one of my favorites. And it was in the original draft. I rewrote it for this one, but that scene sticks out to me as one that I have brainstormed over and over in my head and like watched it like a movie. I will like lay in bed at night listening to music, like brainstorming scenes, and that one has stuck with me all these years, and I see it so clearly.
You can definitely tell when you read it, like how clear that scene is.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's probably my favorite scene.
That actually leads perfectly into my next question. Are there any scenes that you love from other versions of the story that no longer fit into the new one?
Yes.
Can you tell us about one?
Yes. It's not really a spoiler. So in the first draft, the main villain obviously is the Queen of Hell, and she masquerades herself as a guidance counselor at the high school that Camille was going to. And there was a scene in the hallway where Camille has just kind of like fled class for some reason or another. And Xander goes after her and they run into the Queen of Hell in the hallway. And
that's an awkward
it's right. Like, you thought your high school was bad, but anyways. And there's this moment where he is so clearly protective of her, forsaking the fact that like his queen is right there, and it could have very bad consequences for him. He kind of puts someone else above him, and I just thought that was really pivotal when I was writing it in that setting. So,
do you have a similar scene or a scene that kind of does the same thing for Xander in this book, or is it kind of a different character arc?
It's very different. There is a scene, one of the very last scenes kind of maybe echoes it a bit, but I don't necessarily know that the motivations are the same.
Oh. Were there any scenes in this version that you like absolutely dreaded having to write?
There was one that I wasn't sure if I liked how I wrote it in terms of the point of view that I chose. And that was the first time that Camille and Xander sleep together. But I actually think that it's a little bit more unique than like how I wrote the first time that Tristan and Aurora slept together. So I think looking back and rereading it, I do appreciate it a bit more, but I was very unsure when I was writing it.
That's fair. Do you have any favorite lines so far? So obviously you're still in the draft phase, so it might be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I do.
Can you think of them or no?
I can think of them, but I can't share them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll have to sit after the book.
Yes.
Okay. Last question before we do our reading. Is there any small detail that you can think of that is carried through all of the versions of the Devil's Waltz?
There is, and it's quite funny because I wrote the Devil's Waltz before I wrote what was originally Twisted Fate and is now taken by the Fae. And there is an Easter egg in what was Twisted Fate and is now taken by the Fae, and an Easter egg in the Devil's Waltz that link the worlds. And I love it.
I read that too, and I screamed. I was like, oh my god, I know what this is.
Yeah, so I'm
So
excited for
exciting.
people to read it and kind of make that connection.
I love Easter eggs like that.
Yeah.
Connect like all the other works back in. I think that's just so great.
That was fun.
Okay, so for your viewing pleasure, Jess and I are
boy.
going to read some of the first chapter of The Devil's Waltz.
I've never written, nope, that's incorrect. I've never read what I've written aloud to anybody, so.
So you get to be here for the first experience ever of Jessi Elliott reading.
Wow. It is my narration debut. It's a lot. Okay. I have never hated anything more in my 22 years on this earth than the espresso machine in front of me. I've been working at Hallowed Grounds for nearly 5 months. You'd think in that time I'd have learned a trick to stop the damn thing from sputtering steaming hot milk at me, but no. Safe to say, being a barista isn't my true calling. Hell, I don't even like coffee.
Are you good?
I glance over the cursed machine to find my best friend and roommate Harper standing on the other side of the counter, fighting back a grin as she watches me struggle. Her pale pink lips are pressed together and her blue eyes are sparkling. Her face is free of makeup as usual, though her lashes are dark and thick enough she doesn't need it, and the dusting of freckles over her nose and cheeks only adds to her natural beauty. You couldn't have ordered something simple like tea or water? I shoot back in a dry tone before pouring the steamed oat milk into a to-go cup as the machine continues hissing at me. Harper snorts, tying her brownish blonde hair away from her face. She let it grow out over the summer, but typically keeps it cut fairly short, though I think the chest length suits her. She leans against the counter.
When are you going to ditch this place?
I purse my lips, as if I'm considering the question for a moment before answering. Hard to say. Probably when tuition and rent magically become free. She offers me a look I've seen many times in the decade I've known her, and I shake my head before finishing her vanilla oat latte and securing the lid. Walking to the end of the Warren Butcher Block counter, I slide it toward her.
Thanks.
She wraps her fingers around the cup and lifts it to her lips, taking a small sip before sighing contentedly.
Can you take a break?
I wipe my hands on the black apron tied around my waist and glance at the other barista working tonight. There haven't been many patrons in the last hour, so she's currently scrolling on her phone. Marie, I'm going to take my break before you head home. She shoots me a thumbs up without looking away from her screen. I make myself a chai latte and join Harper at a table along the front window, passing one of our regulars, an older woman who likes to sit near the counter while she drinks her peppermint tea and solves the crossword puzzle in the paper. It's dark outside and the weather is unseasonably cool for the third week of September in Seattle, which makes the cafe feel cozier. The old wood floors and twinkling lights strung through the ceiling rafters, paired with the rich aroma of coffee beans and sweetness of pastries, creates an atmosphere filled with warmth. Soft rock plays from a speaker behind the counter, mixing with the faint chatter around us.
How's your night going?
Harper asks, cradling her latte and tapping her fingers against the side of the cup as the faint scent of her Chanel perfume tickles my nose. Pretty quiet. I've been studying in between customers. I'm a few weeks into my sophomore year at the University of Washington, working toward a degree in political science. How was training? I ask as warmth radiates from my cup and heats my palms. The corner of her mouth kicks up.
I'm at the top of the leaderboard, 3 months and counting. I'd say it's going pretty damn good.
I find it in myself to smile. That's amazing, Harper. Congratulations. Her gaze lowers to her cup.
Thanks. I wish you were kicking ass with me, though. I'll graduate from the academy in a couple of years and get partnered with some lame dud.
A sigh escapes my lips. We've had this conversation before.
Sorry.
She rushes to say as her brows knit.
I know your parents hound you enough about re-enrolling. Ignore me.
My stomach sinks and I sit back in my seat. My parents are in charge of a super secret division of the Department of Defense dedicated to protecting the United States from supernatural predators, demons. From the day I turned 15, I started training to become a demon hunter, following in their footsteps, making them proud. Until 5 years ago, when my older sister Danielle was killed in a demon attack. The morning after her funeral, I dropped out of the academy and swore I'd never return to that life. Of course, that hasn't stopped my parents from doing everything they can to rope me back into it. I'd give anything to have their support, or at the very least, have them accept that I'm creating my own future. But that seems more out of reach every day. It's fine, I finally say, tucking a stray bit of hair behind my ear. Most of my brown waves are piled into a messy bun at the crown of my head, but some pieces always seem to escape while I'm working. I really am happy for you. That's the truth. Harper lost both of her parents, who were also hunters, during a demon attack years ago. Her response was the opposite of mine. Where I turned my back on the Hunters organization, she dedicated herself even harder. Harper smiles.
And that is why you, Camille Morgan, are my best friend. Well, that, and because you give me free lattes.
She lifts her cup and shoots me a wink before taking a drink. I roll my eyes with a short laugh and glance at the clock behind the counter. I should get back. Are you heading home now? She nods, standing and zipping up her black rain jacket. The rest of her ensemble is also black: leggings, t-shirt, and combat boots, the Hunter's unofficial uniform.
I have a training session in the morning before class. Whoever thought it was a good idea to double up on hunter training on top of getting an English degree is a dumb bitch. That's me really screwed, presently.
I'm not entirely sure how to respond to that. I'm on the closing shift, so I won't be home until late. Try to get a good night's sleep. Harper smiles.
Thanks, Cammy.
I return to my post behind the counter as a few new customers walk in, and Harper slips out the door, waving as she goes. The rest of the night drags after Marie leaves shortly after Harper did. By closing time at 10 o'clock, I'm ready to go home and crawl into bed.
So, if you liked that sneak peek of The Devil's Waltz, it is now available for pre-order wherever you like to order your books. And if you pre-order it, make sure you go back onto the Inimitable Books website and you submit your pre-order receipt for some very cool gifts.
I'm super excited. We are doing a very fun enamel pin as well as a character art card. So we will have more information on that soon, but be sure to go pre-order.
Okay. Really
Woo!
good results. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you
for
so
Jessi's
much.
cover reveal, and have a very good night.